All right, there we are. Hello, everybody. We like to welcome R.J. Carter to the show here to help me out co-host tonight. As we will be getting, we're gonna at least give it a few minutes, give some more people time to show up. And if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. That'd be appreciated. Every bit counts, right? So, RJ, how are you doing tonight?
You know what? I'm doing okay. I think it's one of those Fridays that's going smack dab into Monday. So my whole weekend is accounted for. All my plans of sleeping in and reading comics have just gone. Nope, I'll be busy, busy, busy.
So I take it no open mic night on Sunday then?
Probably open mic night on Sunday.
Okay.
We'll have to see. And yeah, I still plan on doing LCS guys on Saturday night. I just got to get it set up. What do I have? In fact, oh yeah, I've got to drive. Yeah, I got to get up. I got to drive about 30 miles to do something, and I got to get back the other 30 miles and be here in time for our 1 o'clock Eastern interview with Mike Jimmy de Lorsha Bruin or Lorsha de Bruin and Life on Korra #5, which will be launching on Indiegogo.
Now, when you say 1 p.m. Eastern, is that tomorrow or is that okay? Tomorrow. So
that's tomorrow.
Yeah, which would be 10 a.m. my time. And I did get into your stream there towards the end. It took me a while because, as I told you, I was doing a whole bunch of like personal invites as well as the general shares too.
Yeah, you got setup to do.
So,
this stuff doesn't just happen by itself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and then try to. There are certain people I would like to see in here that been trying to get in here for a long time, but you know how that goes. But anyways, let's see. I'm trying to think now.
Action Toys is out there watching us.
Yes, he is. I saw that, but he was first in tonight. He goes first, which is usually a game they like to play as well. Yeah, we're first when I have my usual crew here, anyways. Yeah. So, anyways, let's see. So I might as well at least tell you what's up for tonight. So we're basically still in September of 1938. That's what we're looking at. We're going to be looking at some of the comics that went out on sale from Dell Comics at that point in time. So we'll be looking at 6 stories in total, 3 from each comic. Crackerjack Funnies #5 and The Funnies #25. So it's a good mix of them. Dan Dunn, Myra North. Let's see, Tom Mix. Those all from the Crackerjack Funnies, and then from the Funnies, Alley Oop, Ben Webster's page, and Squibbly. And Squibbly, the interest. Well, I know Squibbly and Ben Webster, even though they're at this point in September 38, still with Dell, still being published in Dell Comics. In 39, they actually will move over to DC because it's where it's in the squib. And I've told you this before too. It's Squibbly's feature that introduces the Golden Age Red Tornado Ma Hunkel.
That's right.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So, anyways, as I said before, I have it ready. I just need to share. I have the page ready and all that to get ready to read the comic. It's just I just want to wait. As I said, hopefully get some more people in here. See if we, hopefully get the word out. I mean, as I said, I did my part in sharing everything on as many. Basically, I have to share it 3 times on Facebook because there's the general share off of my own Facebook page, and then of course I'm sharing it in groups, main event collectors, and comic related madness pops up. And then of course I'm sharing it on Discord, Minds, and Parlor. And I do personal invites where I try to, where I'll send out of course, on Fridays every week. I try to get Tug to come in here.
Someday it'll happen.
Yeah. Well, he keeps saying it, and I'll talk more about that after the show because I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying anything bad or anything. Which
I wanted to get him and Yellow Flash together for one show just to talk about what the work is that you put into a YouTube channel that gets to the level that these guys are at. Because I was there, not physically knowing him. I know Tug now. I can talk to him regularly if I wanted to, and I do want to. I like Tug, but he's busy.
Kind of like I try to, but even I realized I was thinking about that earlier today. I may have been, and if I was, I apologize. With me messaging you on Facebook a lot, I'm sorry if I was a little too pestering this
No,
year.
not a problem. But I was there when they were setting their channels up and watching them grow. I think it'd be an interesting and informative show to get these two guys together and just talk about the nuts and bolts behind a YouTube channel. What, other than making the videos, what do you do behind the scenes to grow your channel, to get that audience? Because there's got to be some things that people just don't do. I know there's people who have engaging shows, who have enough subscribers, who have enough view hours, but just aren't growing.
Well, like me, for example, I mean, I'm still fairly small. I just hit a new high here with 141 subscribers, but for me, I'm not really flash. I know for me, part of it is I'm not really flashy. I focus more on the content of my show than anything else, because my big thing is I just love talking about the stuff and getting the information out there. And of course, that because we've talked a lot about that on your show. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, not at all. You did. I was done talking, but but yeah, I think it'd be a fun show.
Well, I've tried to get the two of them on, before I decided to do the historical comic retrospective on Friday. My original intent for Friday was to have kind of a rotating panel type show, something like what Flash was doing and what he's doing now with Flashcast, where I'd have people coming in like every week, just hang out and talk. Granted, we'd still talk, basically kind of like what we do on the open mic night, on your channel. Yep. I want, of course, I want, and I do appreciate and like doing that with you and whoever else comes in, even when George and I start digging into each other or whatever. But there are some individual. Well, we're not even going to go there. But anyways, because you know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, yeah. So probably at the 10-minute mark, that's when I'll start here. We're like 8:47 right now.
Okay.
So I think, and even though the count is showing 1, I think there's really more 3 of us in here. Toys is probably just relaxing. So, yeah. So, anyways, let's see. What else can we talk about other than giving negative people attention? Let's see before we get.
I've been watching some conversations today about one of the crowdfunded comics that came out, Ultra Star, from Patrick Thomas Parnell, and apparently great art, but the fallout is that people didn't like paying $25 for a 40-page book on what they're saying is really subpar paper standard.
$25 for a 40-page book?
Yeah, which if you've ever crowdfunded a comic, that's pretty much what you're paying all the time. But you usually get good bond paper.
So, now, Grant, maybe because I'm so used to looking at the prices of Golden Age comic, it like 40 pages, and I'm seeing like 64 pages for 10 cents, and even as time goes on, and then Toys just told us, "Good evening, guys. Good evening, Toys." We're just chewing the fat a little bit here. But yeah, 25 when I've seen, even well into the 90s and 2000, it's like It's like it was like 60 cents for 32
Yeah.
pages.
Well,
So
it costs about $20. They're coming down, but you have to understand you can make a single comic a lot cheaper when you're printing 1 million of them than if you're printing 100 of them. And as more people start buying the crowdfunding model, those prices will come down.
yeah, and I don't know. Had you had a chance to go back and watch last night's episode of the Mikestand?
Not all of it. No, I was there for some of it, but then I went to bed. I'm getting old.
Because there were a couple of stories I figured you would have been interested. One of them came from your own site, the unusual anime article from Raven.
Okay.
Oh, I know. That was the one I concluded with. What's tonight's top? Well, yeah, Mighty Geek. We'll probably be getting into that in a sec here as soon as we finish up this line of conversation here.
We're going to read some comics, Mighty Geek.
Yeah, Mighty Geek Studios. Yeah, we're going to ultimately be looking over some comics that went on sale from September of 1938 from Dell Comics, Crackerjack Funnies and the Funnies. We were just kind of chewing the fat here while we're waiting for people to get in. As always, of course, if you can like and share the stream and see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be very appreciated. Yeah, but anyways, to go back to what was I saying before all that?
We were talking about the cost of the books.
Oh yeah, that. But then I think I was about to say something else too. But yeah. Oh, I was talking about last night's stream.
Yes.
Yeah, because now hers was at the end of the show, but at the beginning of the show, I talked about from Bounding into Comics an article that they were talking about. I guess so. Back in 1981, BBC did a documentary. The British Broadcasting Company did called "The Arena: The Story of Superman." Of course, last week, we saw the Jerry Siegel's saying that it was truth, justice, in the American way. And last night, what I covered was an article where they talked about, I guess they decided to bring in Frederick Worthen, who had died just shortly after the documentary came out. To I guess give equal time or whatever is the way that I think JB Augustine, the author, was putting it. And it was some interesting stuff said in there, but I think one of the last things I remember in there is that I guess in a 2003 interview, Stan Lee, in regards to Frederick Worthen, called him a huckster. So
yeah, I can see that being his well, it was a lot of people's opinions.
Well, there were, yeah, I mean, Frederick, yeah, I mean, I don't, now the guy was, from when I looked it up, the guy was like 86 years old when in 81, just before he died. So, but, but a lot of people were saying this guy obviously didn't read comics because he would talk about things like, kids trying to fly because they're trying to emulate Superman. But what a lot of people don't remember, and I've talked about this quite a bit, is that Superman, in terms of Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster's initial concept of him, he wasn't flying.
No.
He was leaping. He was leaping an eighth of a mile. In fact, one of the comparisons I made, it was like he was more like an ostrich as opposed to an ostrich or like Dodrio from Pokemon. It was more like he would leap and run. He didn't fly. That came later, But anyways, we are now almost 15 minutes into the show, so it's probably a good time to start getting into the actual topic that everybody came to see on hand, and that's us going through the comics. Right, RJ?
That's right. Let's get to the comic books.
Yes, and as always, guys, if you guys can like and share the stream if you haven't already, that'd be appreciated. See if we can get some more friendly people in here. Some people who would really like to learn more about, the history and kind of what comics look like, back in some olden times here. So, and I hope everybody will enjoy the content. It's always, RJ, if you have anything you'd like to add to the conversation as we're going along, feel free to chime in.
Well, I'll chime in right now. When is Dick Tracy going to arrest Dan Dunn for stealing his hat?
Don't know about that one. That's kind of funny because the last time I did Crack and Jack Funnies, kind of funny. BatGoat mentioned the same thing. How it seemed like he thought Dan Dunn was a kind of a Dick Tracy ripoff as well initially, but it wasn't quite that. He also thought that Myra North. He was, I guess, confusing Myra North, special nurse there, with Apple Mary as well. So, anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at. So this is the cover page, obviously. So you got Don Winslow, who would also move over to DC at some point. And you have Boots there, Dan Dunn, Myra North.
You know what's happening right there? There's a whole comic strip happening right there. That's the captain is getting ready to hook up with Boots, but Boots is Dan Dunn's girl, and you can tell he's getting ready to throw down with Don Winslow here. And Myra North, she's just like, I got the bandages ready.
Oh, interesting. That's a very interesting.
Look at that way he's looking at her, and she's looking at him, and Dan's watching both of them. He's like, "Get away from my lady."
That would be, now granted, these are of course reprints of newspaper strips, but that, I like that you did that right there. That was a cool thing you just did there. Kind of within the realm of the Dell Comic universe right there. You just created a story. That is one of the things I would hope people would be able to do, as we cover these comics. Use their imagination a bit. See where they may want to take the characters if at all possible. That was a cool thing you just did right there. And I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and you're welcome. So, anyways, let's scroll down here. So this cover dated October of 1938. It was the 5th issue, 10 cents right there. You see they have some of the paneling in there. Lists include Dan Dunn, Myra North, Don Winslow of the Navy, Buck Jones, Washtub.
Oh my God! Somebody think of the children.
Somebody think of the children.
Look!
Oh my God! Yep. Now, Grant, we do know some of the comics were indeed, made for kids, but they were also made for adults. Obviously, this panel right here is made for adults. When you have a naked woman, right there, the backside of a naked woman right there.
And that's are these mannequins that she's dressing in the nursing station or something? I can't wait to get to that story. We're going to examine Myra North tonight.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So you have Buck Jones, Washtubs, Apple Mary, Clyde Beatty, Major Hoople, our boarding house Captain Frank Hawk, Tom Nick, Freckles, and many more. Your favorite funnies, all in color. Even with the adult stuff, they call them funnies there.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we hit 8 additional pages of comics, big new 44-page book beginning August issue, on sale July 8th. So Mickey Mouse Magazine. And of course, and I think I told you this before, Mickey Mouse Magazine is now bigger and better. But I don't think it was a comic book back then. It may have been a full-on magazine. But comic books back in these days were still called, comic magazines at times. I don't think they were called comic books yet. All right, so here's Dan Dunn right here. Dan Dunn, Secret Operative 48 by Norman Marsh. So let me see these guys real quick so I can get into character here in my head here. Let's see. Okay. All right. Yeah, boys. This fellow Mo is chiseling in on me. I want you to see him understand. I want you to go see him. Understand? Okay, Butcher. We'll call tonight. So long. He um mole out his Stephen and the rest of the boys'll get a lesson. Hey, send Gip in here. Say, Gipper, we ought to make connections for our lottery racket. So they had lottery back then too, huh?
Oh yeah, well yeah, that was numbers running. They called it.
Uh,
You bet on a number, and if it came up, you would win. But the house always makes more money than the person who wins the
yeah.
pick.
In other towns, send out a couple of boys. And we split 50-50 with collectors out of town too. Meantime, Dan Dunn and Irwin. Now Irwin, we'll move to a rooming house in the nightclub district. Remember, I'm practically deaf. We're going to be a couple of hoodlums on the lam. Understand? But how's that going to help solve this lottery racket? Yes, ma'am. We oh wait. All right. Yes, ma'am. We'd like to get a room. Don't want to pay too much. Okay. I can give you boys one next to the bath, $5 a week. Wow, could you imagine getting a hotel room for like $5 a week today?
Well, that was back when $5 was a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah. That I mean, heck, you could live in a if they were charging $5 a week. You could live in a hotel that if you did that today. But of course, we won't because back then $5. I know BatGoat has an inflation calculator. I'm sure he could sit there and figure it out with his inflation calculator how much that would be now. But anyways, um, this this will do. Fine. you'll you'll have to pay now. I don't give credit. So she's asking for the money up front, obviously.
Yep.
Which why would anybody give credit back in those days? Considering now, granted, this is still um, even as Batgo pointed out, they were coming out of the depression by this point. Um, but still, it was a depression. People weren't making a lot of money at this point, right? Right there,
People would,
RJ.
yeah, people would skip out on you. You didn't trust anybody back in the depression.
Yeah. Well, Dan, we got the room. What now? First we remove our badges, but we keep our guns. We're hoodlums now, pal. Tough guys. Yeah, but don't forget, I can't hear very good. And tonight we start our search for the heads of the lottery racket. Well, Dan, it's evening. When do we start on the lottery case? We'll leave about 8 and take a stroll um around. Want to look over the town a little? Don't don't forget Irwin. I'm hard of hearing. Oh wait. Don't forget Irwin. I'm hard. Wait.
He's saying, "Don't forget, Irwin. I'm hard of
Yeah,
hearing."
I'm. Okay, I see what they did with the word bubbles there. So, okay, so at first glance, it looks like the word bubble on the left is over Irwin, but then there's that smaller line that I guess is connecting it more to Dan Dunn there.
Yeah.
Irwin's the
Oh
one
yeah,
on
yeah. It's
Irwin's
weird.
the one on the left, and that's what was throwing me off a little bit there. So let's get back to this. And don't forget, Irwin, I'm hard of hearing. If I can get away with what I'm trying to do, it won't take us so long to crack the case. You want to work in with the lottery mob, eh? That's right. Let's go in this tavern and order dinner. From its appearance, we may be able to pick up a little information. Okay by me, Dan. Um, Say, bartender, we'd like to order something to eat. What'll you have, pal? Um, what do you say? I can't hear a word.
He's pretending to be deaf, so he'll overhear things.
People will let down their guard and will speak around him, thinking that he can't hear all that well. And I did see there are some comments here. I just
Oh yeah.
looked back here, so let's see. I think Mighty Geek Studios is wanting to add to the conversation. So why don't we take a look and see what he has to add to the conversation here? Would you like to read them, RJ? Would you like to read the
Sure.
comments?
So in the comics, Superman was faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Uh, and
Yes.
according to the Answer Man, Bob Razakis at DC Comics, he learned he could fly when he was in the middle of a leap and saw something else and tried to change direction and could. So that's when he found out, oh, I can actually fly.
Yeah. Now, was this? Do you know? Did he mention if this was during the Golden Age or was it during the Silver Age that he
It
discovered?
was during the Golden Age because the Golden Age Superman did start flying.
Yeah. Where and that would make sense. I think the Silver Age Superman actually could fly almost
Oh,
immediately.
yeah. Well, the thing is, there was no cutoff for saying, hey, let's start Superman over again and we'll call it Silver Age. It was the same Superman all the time. It's just sort of like we're going to say from this issue forward, we've got the one that's the Daily Planet, and from the one back here is the Daily Star. And
Based on the research I've done, that time was around like 53, 54, around there
yeah,
when that change was happening. In fact, what as I've probably mentioned before, according to some of the sources I've seen, the official start of the Silver Age started with Martian Manhunter's introduction in 1955.
a lot of people say that. I've also heard that Showcase number 4, the first appearance of the Barry Allen Flash, was the Silver Age, because that was the first one that referred to the Golden Age heroes as only comic book characters on our world.
Yeah, kind of like the Justice League episode Legends, I believe.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw that one, but
I did. John Stewart's Heroes.
yeah, yeah. All right.
Oh yeah, calling Dick Tracy. Um, and they were referred to as comics magazines and funny books. Yeah, whether they were funny or not, we still call them comics. We say that's just the name for the art form now, but
Yeah.
we should have come up with something better. I agree with RJ. Dan Dunn should be arrested for theft. Yeah, because now he's got the raincoat. We get into the story. He's got the yellow raincoat now.
Well, maybe Dan Dunn shouldn't be if we're gonna get the idea of stealing ideas or whatever. Dan Dunn shouldn't be the one who it's Norman Marsh there, the guy who wrote Dan Dunn.
Of course.
Of course, nobody probably thought for another few years here until the whole dust up between Siegel and Schuster and Beck and Bender, if you guys know what I'm talking about. That kind of stuff was going on. Do you know what I'm referring to, RJ?
Oh, the Superman Captain Marvel
Right.
debates,
Right.
lawsuits, not debates. There was big money involved.
Yeah. RJ?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, next one. Yes. Yeah, the states got jealous of the money being made from running numbers and took over that racket.
Yeah.
And you can't win if you don't play.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So getting back to the, getting ready to move on to the next page here. Continue on here. Your partner's death, huh? That's right, bartender. A gun went off next to his head and kind of ruined his hearing. What do you say? I said couldn't hear so good. What do you want to eat? Actually, why did okay? Actually, I said you couldn't hear so good. What do you want to eat? Don't talk too much, pal. I want a sandwich and coffee.
He's not sure about the coffee. He's got question marks at that. And coffee?
Yeah. So a gun went off alongside his head, huh? A little accident? I'll say it was a copper. Yeah, an accident. Just an accident. So the bartender takes their order to the back of the tavern. Say, a couple of guys are out in front. Maybe they'd do for the big boss if they're right. Yeah. And what makes you think they're right? Yeah, and what makes you think they're right? Listen, boss. The guys look right. See? And one of them is deaf. His partner says a gun went off beside his head. Then he shuts up. So what? He let it slip. Some copper was blasting away at him. You better talk to him. I know the big boss needs men. Okay, I'll draft. I'll drift out in a few minutes. So obviously, this bar or tavern is obviously being run by a organized crime group. Wouldn't you say, RJ?
Oh yeah. Well, it was. I'm trying to think. Was it Prohibition at the time? Was it a speakeasy sort of place?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's possible. The big boy must be cleaning up. He's collecting a couple of hundred out of this place every week on his lottery tickets, and he's got hundreds of places. Well, I'll see those fellows out front. Hello, boys. My name's Scarfoni. I own this place. How's the grub? Okay? Yeah, my partner can't hear, so if he don't answer, ya don't pay no attention. See?
I love the guy's name. He's not Scarface and he's not Capone. He's Scarfone.
Yeah. Well, you notice I said it as Scarfone.
Oh yeah. But they just took two mobster names and just cut them in half and shoved them together.
It looked like what they did was they executed a portmanteau right there.
Yeah.
You know what a portmanteau is, right? We're right,
I
RJ?
know what a portmanteau is.
You basically take two words and just jam them together into one.
Yep.
All right. So, anyways, back to the story here. Your partner's sort of deaf, huh? You boys work in the neighborhood? Nah, we're just rested. See, yeah, we're taking a little vacation. You're doing too much talking, pal. Keep your trap shut. Hey, he's always harping about me gabbing too. Much too much. But I never tell anything. See? Yes, I guess that's right. Hey, Scarfone! Here are your tickets for tomorrow. Give me the cash and the ones you don't get rid of. Sure thing. Here's the dough and the unused tickets. Say, if they're lottery tickets, I want to buy a couple. I'm lucky on lottery. Okay, wait until I count. All right. Okay, wait until I count these. Sometimes the collectors. Oh, wait. Yeah, the way they got that word, but I think it's actually pointing to the wrong guy. That's my impression. Oh, wait, actually, wait. Let's see. Oh, no, maybe not. Oh, okay. Wait until I count these. Sometimes the collector makes a little mistake. See. All right. I sound drunk because I wasn't sure if that was Dan Dunn right there. If that was the guy came in. That's why I kind of shuffled there a little bit. Still there, RJ?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
All
just reading along. So I've got a little bitty screen. So
right. Well, we got another comment from Mighty Geek here.
there's one crook in the DC universe that has never been captured. Who is that? Never been captured.
Well, I think depending upon time frame and all that, and which part of the multiverse you time, he could be talking about Joe Chill.
Yeah, well, because they did catch him in a bunch of different ones. Gentleman Ghost always seemed to get away in all the stories I read because they were never sure whether he was a ghost or a guy with a gimmick, and they always left it up to the reader to imagine. Could be both. Could be either one.
All right, so anyway, let's see. All right, moving on to the next page here. Yeah, Butcher. Yeah, Butcher. That's right. We've got to get more men. This lottery business is growing by leaps and bounds. Yeah, if you guys want work, I may be able to fix it for you. Listen, we appreciate your interest in us, but we ain't much for work. See, I know, but your pal isn't he a rod man? Nah, how do you figure that? He ain't no gunman. He's a gentleman. Yeah, that's it. Gentleman. and he can't hear because a policeman's gun went off beside his head and ruined his ears. Yeah, you see, he was walking down the street with a friend of his, a copper, and he stumbled, and his fist hit the copper in the chin. Can you just imagine that? You're walking down the street and all of a sudden, can you imagine that? Did I just act that out pretty well, or what? There,
yeah, just like I was just walking along and I fell forward and my fist hit him in the chin and his gun in his holster went off.
Yeah. Oh, and Mighty Geek here has a couple more things to add to the.
Yeah, the crook that was never caught, Eel O'Brien. That's right, he was never caught because he became Plastic Man and started making up for his past misdeeds of robbery. Another one who's never really served time either, and has never really committed a crime, but everyone thinks he did. Is Matches Malone.
Well, Matches Malone, as I understand it, is one of Bruce Wayne's Batman's disguises when he's working cases involving the underworld.
But everybody in the underworld knows that Matches Malone's a crook, so he's got to have done something to earn that reputation.
And since Mighty Geek Studios brought him up, let's see how well you guys know Plastic Man. So RJ, I'm going to ask you. You can answer this, or if anybody else wants to answer it in the chat as well. True or false? Plastic Man was an original DC character.
False.
That is correct. Correct. He came from Quality Comics. That's where I was going with it. He came from, basically, Quality and Fawcett were competitors of DC in the 40s here, into the early 50s. And Mighty Geek Studios also said false, which is correct. But after the companies kind of went under, DC brought up many of the characters. In fact,
I believe that Plastic Man wasn't even the first stretchy guy. There was a Golden Age character called Plymouth the Rubber Man.
Well, I haven't heard of, but
he's public domain because he was like, nobody was using him, but he was a circus guy.
Yeah, I haven't seen any comics related to him, but then again, as I said, I was only focusing on DC and associated comics like Quality and Fawcett, when I previously did this kind of thing. So, yeah, so Plastic Man, along with like the Black Hawks and many of the heroes that would come to form the Freedom Fighters, all came from Quality to DC. So, anyways, back to let me just remind myself of the time. Okay, so back to the story here. Let's see. And the copper's gun went off, and what happened to the copper? And he don't come to right away, I guess. And why not? Well, you see, my pal, he had a brass knuckle on his fist. So we lambs out. We lambs out of town. You fled with him? I'll say I did. I was handcuffed to him. So, you'd been pinched for something, huh? You're too curious. You want I know too much about us? We're minding our own business. We ain't looking for nothing, see? But this is a soft one, the big shot of the Bergs or
this Berg.
Berg. of this burg is a friend of mine, and he's looking for good men. We ain't pushing in on any rackets. We won't interfere with him, and he needn't bother us. Understand? So they're trying. I guess they're trying to paint the illusion that they're just trying to lay low. There looks like. Did you hear what I said there,
Yep.
RJ?
Oh yeah, it sounds like he's struggling to make it up as he goes along.
You're a sap. If you go with a big shot, big dough, and plenty of protection, if you want it, I'll put in a good word for you. Actually, it's also, since they're trying to maybe showing a little resistance at first is a good thing because they don't want to seem too eager.
Oh yeah,
cause suspicion the other way. What's his racket? Maybe we'd be interested. Maybe, yeah, maybe. The boss has all the rackets, but this big one is lottery. This big one is lottery. I handle some of his tickets. Well, I'll talk it over with my pal. We'll be in tomorrow night, and I'll give you our answer, okay? Yeah, and I'll talk to the boss. You handled that fine, Irwin. Followed my instructions to the letter. We have a lead now, but I doubt if the big shot will put us on so easily. If he's in a rush for gunmen, he may make connection with him. We may make connection with him sooner than you think. I think. So RJ, how am I doing with the voices so far?
it's a rough job, man, but as long as you keep the characters apart.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I was a little off last week, but hopefully I'm doing better this week. So Scarfoni, the owner of the tavern, offered to get us a job with the big boss. I wonder if the big boss could be the head of the lottery racket here. If he is, I've been more than fortunate. That is, if I get in with the mob. Hey, Dan, what are you doing? Talking to yourself? I was just reviewing the lottery case. If we do get in with this mob as easily as all this, we're fortunate indeed. Yeah. Meantime, Scarfoni calls at the big boss's office. Let's see. Oh, yes. What brings you here? Last time I see you, you tell me that you need men to carry on the lottery work for you. I think I have two you could use. So, you think that you have two men I could use, Scarfoni? That's right, Butcher. Last night they come in my tavern. From their conversation, I figure they are in hiding from the police. What crime have they committed? I don't know. They were very close mouthed. I could obtain but little information. I think you should see them. I'll have Gipper talk to them. When will they be around again? They said they would be in tonight. And in Dan Dunn's room, okay, Irwin, let's go over to Scarfoni's. Don't forget our act. I'm deaf. I'll tell them we're interested in there if there is enough dough in the proposition. Hello, Scarfoni. Are those two guys that the big boss wants me to talk to here yet? No, but they should be soon, Gipper. I hope everybody else is enjoying my voice work as well. when when you introduce me to them, or when you introduce me to them, don't tell them who I am. I'll let you know if I am interested. All right, shh. Here they come now. Ah, yes, good evening. I have been waiting for you. Sit at this table. Okay, Scarfoni. We've talked the situation over, and if there is enough in it for us, why, we'll string along with the mob. Might as well pick up a few nickels. I want you to meet a friend of mine, Yip. Who is this bird? A cop? Take it easy, pal. We can trust Scarfoni. Like how I'm pronouncing his name.
Makes it sound more Italian.
uh,
Hey, Scarfone.
yeah. So you guys are on the lam, eh? What of the cops got against you? That's our business, see, and it stays our business. Ha- Have you have you been hooked up with any mobs? Me and my pal always play a lone hand. See, we got a racket that's a little too hot for us right now, and besides, my partner's deaf. Deaf, huh? Scarfoni told me a copper's gun went off by his head and ruined his ears. But what's this all about? Why all the questions from you? Are you the big boss? No, no, but the big boss can use you. I'll take you to see him. Okay, come on, pal. We're going to see the big shot. The boss is running the biggest lottery in the world. And what would our jobs be? He needs a couple of men to watch the collectors, sort of freelance agents. Maybe you'd fit in. If he liked us, huh? Let's go see him. The new men Scarfoni talked about are outside. I brought them to see you, boss. They look okay they look okay to you, Gipper. Send them in. We ain't telling nothing about ourselves until we know what you got to offer. What's it all about? So you're independent, huh? We'll talk no further. We'll talk no further. Show them the door, Gipper. Okay, boss. Gee whiz, Dan. I guess I overplayed my hand with the big boss. That's all right, Irwin. I've got a little plan, and I'll probably put us in stronger with the boss of this lottery racket than we would be otherwise. What's that, Dan? I'm going to have Scarfone's place raided, and we're going to be arrested. Interesting plan there, huh, RJ?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see
But
how
he's a cop, so
well, let's see how this plays out. Arrested and go to jail? That's right. Wait here until I put a call through to the district attorney, Brown. It's all set, Irwin. He'll have the police raid the place tonight, and we'll be pinched. Come on, let's get back to our rooming house. Boy, I don't like this jail idea. Who does? Right, RJ?
any plan that starts off with going to jail is not a good plan. That's why I got out of the environmental movement when I was in my 20s, because it was always like, okay, who wants to volunteer to be arrested? I'm like, no.
Oh, and I guess that was. Let me see something here. That may. Oh, continue next month. So, all right. I knew it was like a 5 page story there. So, of course, these are reprints. So, um, wow, we got some more people in here. Let's see. And thank you guys for the likes and shares for when you came in there. Let's take a look here. RJ, if you want to go, if you want to read off these, I'll let you read off the comments here. Looks like
I would love to.
All right, let me see. I'm just gonna try to go.
You pop them up, and I'll read whatever you pop up.
All right, we're just trying to find out where we left off. Okay, go ahead.
And
Okay, before you start, read off the person who's commenting too, so we know. So just so everybody knows.
Yeah, well, Mighty Geek Studio says it's amazing that most of these stories take place in cities rarely mentioned in comics. I don't know what city this one's even taking place in, to tell you the truth. I always thought they made up their own cities like Gotham and Central and Star.
Well, yeah. Well, I think back in these days too, because I know, like particularly like in a lot of the Siegel Schuster stuff, a lot of their places they basically claim took place in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, and even with old time radio would be that way. You had one called Big Town. That was literally the name of the town, Big Town.
Actually, I don't know if you knew this, but from what I've seen in the past, when I was doing this with the DC stuff before, there was an actual comic book called Big Town.
Yeah.
I never read it or never looked into it, because I was focusing on superhero stuff. But I do remember seeing that title. All right, go ahead.
Mighty Geek Studios continues that Dan Dunn reminds me of Boston Blackie. And I love Boston Blackie. I listen to him whenever they play him on Sirius XM's classic radio channel. It's very, very fun kind of private eyes. Very much of a smart aleck.
All right.
And he's also, more of a crook than he is he's an honest crook. He knows all the crooks, but he's not one himself, even though the officers and the police force would love to have him arrested. Raptor Jesus, hail to the highly intelligent stream. Look at that line art.
Well, thank you for the compliment there, my friend.
Well, he recognizes. We like recognizes like.
Yeah. All right.
Vailned, terrible movie. Yes, Dick Tracy was. I read ahead. It could have been so much better. And we were talking at the beginning here how Dan Dunn should be arrested by Dick Tracy for having stolen his raincoat and hat.
Yes, but as I also pointed out, Dan Dunn shouldn't be arrested. It should probably be Norman Marsh. for stealing Chester Gold's idea.
Yeah. Jack Stafford, ahoy, ahoy, sir. Welcome aboard the ship. Glad to have you on board.
All right.
JV, you is kind, you is smart, you is impotent. Important, not impotent. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Yes.
Yep.
Raptor Jesus, look at that line art.
So I guess Raptor Jesus is big on line art, huh?
He's very big on the lion art.
Do you know Raptor Jesus? Does that name look familiar to you?
No,
RJ?
I don't think I've ever met Raptor Jesus, but I know people who appreciate lion art, and they're a good crew. Earth Mine says great stuff. The Golden Age was full of great stuff.
All right. Let me...
It moved a little slow sometimes, but it got the story told.
All right.
So where are we gonna move on to next from here?
The next story will be Myra North. But I have to kind of do something here real quick, and you will probably see it happen. All right. So, anyways, I had to do something there real quick. RJ?
Belnet says, saw the yellow coat and thought it was Dick Tracy. Yeah, we all did. It was apparently that was a standard police detective issue in the 30s.
Okay.
He had to stand out from the crooks because they always wore green and brown.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now we're still. Yeah, RJ?
Yes. The voices make it much more exciting. Yeah, the voices add something to it.
Well, thank you for that, Jack. I try very hard to do as best, make the show as entertaining and informative as possible. RJ?
Sorry, I got another panel here. Beautiful reading. I'm in tears. 10 out of 10. Well, it's not Shakespeare in the Park Raptor Jesus, but we're doing our best.
Yeah. Next.
Sorry, I've got some things I'm taking care of here.
Okay.
Dick Tracy is needed today to track down fake vaccine card makers. Yeah. If you're making counterfeit stuff, you should always be cracked down on if you make a counterfeit copy of something that's legal. And then in the meantime, show me how to make those cards because I'd like to have one.
All right. Did you want to read that last comment there before we?
Oh yeah, he halfway through Night in the City. So far, a great noir. Not read that one, Bill Ned. It's gotta be better than Golden Age Dan Dunn, I'm sure. But yeah, I do love the noir stuff. I get a lot of it on the old time radio networks. Oh, got messages on my phone too. I think that's the last comment down on the list that I see.
Yeah, I know. I'm just. Actually, there's one more comment.
Mighty Geek just popped in. So yeah, that's a book to make you think. A Night in the City. I've not read that one. I've heard about it, but it's not one that I've sat down and read. I like my noirs and I like my hard boiled stuff. In fact, I just got two new Destroyer books in. I'm going to get to those. They just came out. They're brand new adventures from James Mullaney. So looking forward to digging into those, seeing what he's doing with the character.
All right. All right. So, anyways, we'll move on to the next story here.
Yeah, let's kill the dead air. Let's get back to
Yeah, I was just trying to get caught up on some of the comments, and we're having to do so. Okay, so we're just gonna. Okay, so here's Boots. Of course, we're just gonna look through this real quick. I'm not gonna actually read it. As I said, Myra North will be the next one here, but just so you guys can see the art right there. There's Captain Frank Art Hawks Ares, which was another term for somebody for a good pilot. Talking shop. Here we go. Myra North, Special Nurse, by Ray Thompson.
Nurse.
By Ray Thompson and Charles Coyle. All right. So. Okay. As Myra faces the wrath of the dentist's wife after being caught in the act of peering through the boudoir door. The boudoir door. She attempts a lame explanation. I'm awfully sorry, Mrs. Meeker. I'm the new nurse. I just came back to the apartment for clean towels. A fine excuse for opening my door and staring at me. Get out of here, and I'll attend to you later. Could this be kind of a going back to what we saw at the beginning, RJ?
Yep. Yeah, this was somebody's lesbian fantasy.
Yeah. Well, we know about quite a bit of that when we get a couple 2 or 3 years after this, right?
Yeah, that's right. When Mr. Moulton decides to get in on the act.
Right. Slam! Gosh, I put my foot in it that time. Oh well, I managed to get one of her beautiful red hairs in the scuffle, and I had a good look at her hands.
No, she didn't just get one of her hairs. She got one of her beautiful red hairs. So she's got feelings for this woman.
Wow. Well, yeah, I mean, you notice too how they added that in there for more descriptiveness, right?
Of course, but the way that it put in the dialogue, it just adds something to the character that's not there. What site do you read all this from, Mike? Because that's what Bailnet's asking right now.
This particular site I'm using right now is called Comic Books Plus. From what I understand, this is all public domain Comics.
Oh yeah, you're in Golden Age land. So
Yeah. So this is called Comic Book Plus. If you want to go look that up. I usually just as a precaution, I won't necessarily announce what sites I do unless somebody asks, just simply because the potential issues there. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, anyways, getting back to the story here. Doctor, something tells me my employment with you is to be short-lived. Why? Why? What do you mean? I just had a little set to with your wife. She accused me of spying on her. A little set to.
yeah, they had a
Now,
scuffle that we didn't get to
how?
see.
Okay, explain. Okay, RJ, why don't you explain what set to, and then see if you can remember a comparative term what we might call it today.
Well, she's basically implying that a cat fight took place because even the narrative box before said after the scuffle, and we saw no scuffle. We saw them staring at each other, and we know that before this came in, she was basically staring through the boudoir door, which is the dressing room. It's where the woman would go in and take her clothes off, and that's why we saw that naked lady at the beginning of the comic book cover.
Yeah,
like right to the front of the book. Oh, the golden age.
Yep. And just goes to show you, even though, again, some of the comics were made for kids, but a lot of them were made, as I think somebody on one of your more recent open mic nights pointed out, a lot of them were also made for adults too. Well, this is actually a reprint of a newspaper strip too. So, anyways, as we continue on here, tut tut tut. Think nothing of it, Miss North. She's a woman of fiery moods. Why, I've seen her. Wait. Wilfred, come here. Myra cannot help smiling as she hears the abuse heaped upon the head, on the head of the poor doctor when he joins his wife in the room. Yes, my dear. Of course. I'm so sorry. Yes, she shall leave at once. Uh, okay. Any impressions there, RJ?
That's
What
Harvey Milk Toast all over.
what particular term might we call him today?
Uh, henpecked.
Henpecked would probably be a nicer word of it. I was thinking of a four-letter word that starts with a C.
Oh, that's not what that means. But I know
Oh,
the word you're thinking of. That's not what that means.
okay. Well, maybe I was off then a bit, but anyway, and that's that. A moment later, Myra rejoins Jack in Jeffrey Garland's penthouse. Well, Jack, I believe I've located Jeffrey's model, but there's nothing we can do about it. Just a minute, Myra. I've received the coroner's report at last. The autopsy revealed that Jeffrey Garland's heart attack really was caused by a violent dose of poison.
A violent dose of poison. Okay. Not a dose of violent poison, which is the. Okay.
Well, that could be a big dose of poison as well.
I guess, yeah.
So the butler's hunch was right. It was murder. Let me read the report in full. We must work fast. I'll swear that girl. Oh wait. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll swear that girl didn't go down in the elevator. It sounded to me as if she went up the stairs to the penthouse. I think. I think.
They're in the same building.
Yeah. Well, I think also. I guess the wife must be a little more suspicious that something funky went on with the wife and her husband, and apparently there was, I guess, a murder involved.
Apparently, it looks like the wife is probably a good suspect for it.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, continuing on with the story here. After after having been freed by after having been fired by Doctor Meeker, Myra again is in the Garland penthouse, following the coroner's studying the coroner's report. Jack, the poison mentioned in this report is a slow-acting drug. You remember from from um, Hodkin's story how Jeffrey went down to the dentist upon um, insistence of his model. Now, now then, shh, take it easy. There's someone outside the door. So it's you. Who now spies on me, Mrs. Meeker? But but what are you doing? But what are you doing in Jeff? I I mean, Mr. Garland's apartment. Are you the yes or no, Mrs. Meeker? Quite the opposite. You don't mean you're detectives. I don't understand why. What? It happened that we are investigating certain er, irregularities concerning the death of Mr. Garland. Perhaps you will assist us. Yes, Mrs. Meeker, will you kindly take up your position on the model stand once again?
Okay, this is different. This is the scene we saw on the cover, but the
Yep.
cover was colored differently. He's making a bronze statue of her. So she's wearing negligee. He's making a nude model. You can tell it's a statue in this panel. It was colored
Whereas it
incorrectly.
wasn't as obvious when we first, but then isn't that always the isn't that why that's called an eye catch,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that was a colorist mistake on the cover.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing with the Hulk. Yeah, on the cover there was no context, so the colors just said, "Okay, here's a panel of these two women standing here. Color them to look like women." Going through the story, they know that it's a statue, so they colored it to look like a statue.
Hmm. But when we saw it at the beginning, it was more like a case of, um, it was
Yeah, it
more
looked
like,
like they were strippers.
yeah. Now, I don't know if that was their intent back then, or if they were actually trying to get people like excited as they saw it. But, anyways, that's it. Um, strike the same pose as. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That's it. Strike the same pose as that statue over there. Are Are you insane? And was that? Are you insinuating that I was that I? That's a perfect. That's perfect. What a shame Jeffrey had to die before he was able to complete his masterpiece. Come now, Mrs. Meeker. You'd better talk. You stole Mr. Garland's appointment book that night he died, didn't you? Yes, yes.
They always confess so easily.
I was afraid, but I didn't murder him. You notice how I'm trying to do the female voices there?
Yeah, don't. Don't try too hard.
Well, I'm not. I mean,
I
I'm, you
know.
know, I mean, obviously, yeah, I'm not gonna go falsetto, but like
Even when
sometimes what
Jim,
you can like if you notice more with Myra's voice, I'm speaking, trying to speak softer to make the
even when master voice artist Jim Dale did all the Harry Potter books, every time he did Hermione or one of the female teachers, I was like, no, get it and get somebody else.
well, I mean, again, to make it as real as possible, right? Considering the
Yeah.
circumstances. I'd be the last one to want him to die. You see, I love Jeffrey Garland, and the the statue meant everything in the world to him. Um, but I still don't understand why Jeffrey was friendly to your husband under the circumstances. Why did he go to Dr. Meeker for treatment that afternoon? And why was the doctor invited to the party that night? I don't I didn't say that Jeffrey loved me. You see, to him, I was just the perfect model. Why my identity was to be kept secret only until the statue was complete. Hmm. You see, okay, RJ, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Okay, no, reading what I just read there. Do you see a potential problem there?
Uh, yeah. I mean, it was going to be known that she was the model once the statue was done. So maybe somebody didn't. Maybe somebody didn't want people to know that she was the model. Maybe her husband did it.
Well, that's where I was going with it. But
I'm
then
still
if
hung up on the weird look of this guy's head here in this last panel. I'm like, really? That's something's funky with that head.
well,
But
I mean, okay, but here's the thing. Let's just say for a moment that the husband didn't know that she was the model, right?
right.
Okay, so if from what we understand of the bronze statue, let's say if it looked like naked, right? And
Of
then
course.
your husband doesn't know that you modeled for the statue and then all of a sudden you get the big exposed, right? You get the big reveal that his naked wife's body is in bronze form here. You know, how do you think he's liable? How do you think he's liable to react?
Um, well, it depends on where the statue is going to be, like in front of a whole bunch of people or in his house. He may have done it. He or somebody may have done it to protect her honor or to save the family from embarrassment.
Yeah, but let me ask you something, RJ. Now I know now I know you at one time in your life were married. I don't know if
Right.
not that I'm trying to dig too deep into your personal life or whatever here, but
It's
just
public knowledge.
yeah. How do you think you'd feel about the idea of your wife modeling naked in front of another man?
I probably would not have been too crazy about it.
And do you think most and I unfortunately have to qualify it like this because because of the world we live in.
There are some who really do like it.
But do you think a lot of straight males would care for the idea of their wife appearing naked before another man?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Most of them wouldn't.
Right. Anyway, so getting on with this then. So that gives us a new angle on the case. And I can't make out Mrs. the beautiful model responsible for. Oh, I guess is the beautiful model responsible for Garland's death? And it continued on the next page there. Oh, oops. I think I just gonna. No, that's not what I was trying to do. Okay. I think I must have hit like first there. I guess I hit the cursor. All right, let me just make sure that the connection right. Now, I might have overshot that a little bit there. All right. All right, that was the page we were just on. Okay, so I guess there's a couple more here. All right,
The story's not done.
Well, I think there's a couple more pages of this story. So, oh wow, we're already at the hour and a half mark.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should.
Dunn took his time solving that last crime, and he's still not finished with it.
Yeah, even though I said I was going to do Tom Mix, because I do want to get to a couple other stories in the other book as well. So I think I should have just done 2 each instead of 3 each. But I'm going to move on to the funnies after this. And I guess a lot of our viewers just decided to take off now. It looks like. But anyways, but it was still good to have some people in here. All right. So after this story, then I'm going to move on to the funnies and just read a couple stories from there.
All right.
Because we're already coming up on an hour and a half. So
yeah. I've actually got some shipping to do tonight too, so I'll be jumping.
Well, hopefully you can at least stick around for a couple minutes after the show.
Oh yeah. Of course.
All right. So the scene, if still the scene is still the Jeffrey Garland apartment or penthouse, and Myra and Jack and are rapidly examining the case of the murdered sculptor to a close. All right. Well, since I've so completely bared my soul.
Yeah. Wording.
Yeah. Well, bared my yeah, I mean, we know that come clean, bared my soul to you about Jeffrey. I hope you'll believe me when I say I had absolutely nothing to do with his death. Thanks, Mrs. Meeker. Hello? Get me the homicide bureau, please. That you, Steve? This is Lane calling from Garland's penthouse. I think you better hop over as fast as you can. I'll have the murderer here for you.
So long.
So long. Okay, yeah. Trying to figure
They
out.
contract a lot weirdly.
Huh?
They contract things a lot.
Well, it wasn't just that. It was hard with some of the printing too. Um, so you think I'm lying? Do you? Take it easy, Mrs. Meeker. No one's accusing you of anything. Please climb up on the model stand again. Now then, we shall prove that your husband knew you were posing for Jeffrey Garland. Um, drawing you. Oh, okay. Okay, Myra. Okay, Myra. You know what to do. See, with the way they kind of jam the words together, and sometimes the way with the print
Yeah.
is kind of hard to make out sometimes. Um, in the hall, Myra passes a bill to one of the elevator boys. This, this will be the last time you'll be tipping off Dr. Meeker that his wife is up in the penthouse. Stupid.
No, Penthouse Studio.
Oh, penthouse studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shouldn't call him stupid, but he probably is.
Righto. A few minutes later, Myra helps, or Myra slips behind a screen in the studio, while Jack, dressed in an artist smock, tails his takes his position at the statue, and the dentist's wife poses on the model stand. Remember what I told you, Mrs. Meeker. Try to appear at ease. The next moment, well, I guess this also kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier too, RJ. You were saying you were kind of hinting at that maybe the dentist there knew his wife was posing. So it sounds like that's the way it played out here.
Yep. I write these things, man.
The next moment, the studio door is thrust open, and the doctor confronts his wife. So another artist is finishing the work started by Jeffrey Garland. I can't make out the first word there, but how did you know I was posing for Mr. Garland? I'll not tolerate any more of this. Do you hear? I'll just a moment, Dr. Meeker. Haven't you done enough harm already by murdering Jeffrey Garland? And who are you anyway to accuse me of murder? Is this a trap? And then
Yes,
next week, I guess, or next issue, whatever. So, they say continue on next page. Next week, the case is solved, but there. Oh,
that's not where we want to go.
I did that by accident. Sometimes I don't know where the. All right. Sometimes I don't. Okay. Dr. Meeker has unwittingly walked into the trap set by Myra and Jack in Jeffrey Garland's penthouse. You must be You must be mad to accuse me of murdering Jeffrey. He was my best friend. Of course he was, but you had reason to suspect that he also was the friend of your wife. We we know that you were insanely jealous of your wife's beauty, Doctor. So you planned to put this romantic young artist out of the way when he came to your office for treatment. It's not true. You can't prove Garland was poisoned. Ah, when, then if you had nothing to do with his death, how did you know he was poisoned? Huh? Why? He really walked said foot in mouth, right?
That's how it always happens. You always give yourself away by revealing too much.
Yep. According to the coroner's report, there were microscopic lead particles found in the victim's stomach along with the poison, which suggests that when you when you filled his teeth that afternoon, you used some soft material in which you were craftily uh, craftily mined a deadly drug. You figured on the spot substance um, substance dissolving after a few holes, this thus releasing the poison into the stomach. So what I'm guessing is they figured he drilled a hole in the guy's teeth or something, and the whatever he used for filling leaked out of the tooth and probably dripped down in the stomach. That's what I'm guessing. They're
Yeah,
basically
you poisoned him through the filling.
yeah.
And
And
Mighty Geek says, "Open mouth, insert foot." Ironic that it was a dentist who opened his mouth.
yeah, well, I said that very same thing too. Woody. Hey, Woody. Um, so, hey, RJ, you want to read? You want to read these?
Yeah, he said, "Hi, Mike, RJ. Sorry I'm late. I got absorbed into an art project, which is a rare treat. Yeah, make art, man.
Yeah.
Oh my, that's a nice bust or torso. Yeah, it's a. You should have been here for the first page of it." Bailnet's taken off. Good night, all. Yeah, I saw that earlier. So hope you're having a good evening. Mighty Geek Studios, open mouth, insert foot, which is
And
what
I
the
said that
dentist did.
too. I said that too.
Yeah, and Woody's telling Velnet good night. So good night, John Boy. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night.
And for those of you who might still be here, if you haven't yet, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that would be appreciated. I do thank everybody for being here as we continue on here. Let's see. All right. So getting back to the story here. And here is the bottle containing the drug which I found in your cabinet. So you meddling fiends think you're clever, do you? You'll ruin my life, do you? We shall see about that. Grab him! He's going to jump! Stop! Stop! Don't be a fool! Stop, Meeker! Don't be a fool! Oh my heavens! And then Myra, without an instant's hesitation, dashes from the penthouse to the floor below. He's trying to make a getaway. Upon being accused the murder of Jeffrey Garland, Dr. Meeker leaped out the window of Garland's penthouse. Myra immediately dashed to the floor below. The penthouse sets back from the floor below. He probably landed right on his own terrace. Very cautiously, Myra opens the door to the dentist's office and quietly enters. Someone is moving around in the next room. So how am I doing with Myra right there, RJ? Myra's voice.
That one's not quite so bad.
Again, sometimes just trying to make more subtle changes in terms of like just simply by speaking, harder or softer can sometimes be pretty effective. It's Meeker, all right, and he's looking for a gun. I hope Jack doesn't come down here now. That man's desperate. And then Myra's eyes fall on the gas tank in the office, and she gets a happy thought. I wonder why she gets a happy thought.
She's either going to conk him on the head with it, or she's going to knock him out with the gas in it.
And if it's a happy thought, what kind of gas might be in that tank? Maybe laughing gas?
Oh, that's probably. He's a dentist after all.
I'll push this over by the door and then... What's that? I thought I heard a noise in the office. Well, they won't take me without a fight. I'm ready. Upstairs in the penthouse, Jack searches frantically for Myra. Both he and Mrs. Meeker believe the dentist has leapt to his death from the window. Myra, where are you? Do you see her go out? Did you see her go out, Mrs. Meeker? No, I saw nothing but my husband's ghastly face as he jumped. And then the silence in the penthouse is shattered as a shot rings out from below. Great Scott! What was that? Come on. Maybe by some miracle your husband still is in the building. A few moments later, Jack burst into the dentist's office to witness a struggle. Right? What the?
Well, to witness a strange sight.
Yeah, witness a strange sight. Okay. What the? You're just in time, Jack. Thanks to the anesthetic, you may now extract the doctor's gun painlessly. So it may have been knockout gas.
Yeah.
But Myra, the shot, how did he miss you? I merely rigged up the hat rack across the room to look like a man, and then I waited for him behind the door, um, with the hose. All right, but I'm
So
gonna.
so he enters the room, he sees a coat and a hat on a hat rack, thinks it's a guy, and shoots.
Yeah. All right. Well, normal, but since we're since I want to try to get through both of the other stories, and we're already at an hour 46 here. Um, Actually, I made well, yeah, I might try because one of the squibbly story I know is 2 pages. Maybe I'll just do the squibbly story because that I like squibbly, and I think a lot of you would like it too. Um, but I think I'll just do that one for the other one. Usually, I'm not covering like more than one book at a time, and usually I will do a better job of trying to map stuff out. But I guess I took a little too long with some of these readings. But I do hope everybody still enjoyed what we read. So, right, we'll go back to the front page there for that, and then we will backtrack and we will look. Well, we'll just look up one story because as I said, we're coming up on 2 hours already. So yeah. So, anyways, thus far, are you enjoying my readings, RJ? Are you enjoying what we're learning from some of this?
I am. It's fun to see these simple stories and how they can really drag them out though. It's
Oh, and I guess Mighty Geek has left us too. He said good night.
yeah, everybody has gone to sleep.
Yeah. And I
This has
know
been a
most of
bedtime
you
story.
guys are like on the eastern half of the country, so I know it's pretty late for you, but still. So let's see. So now we're gonna look at the funnies 25 real quick, but considering the time, we're just gonna do the one story. But I will kind of flash through these so you guys can look at that. Well, I can't wait for that kid any longer. And I know that was a little lazy on my part, just reading it instead of look at this. Look at the ad work here. Remember when somebody was asking me about? I think it was George, in fact, who was asking me about the ads a couple weeks ago on the last open mic night, right? Um, Free bicycles, cash prizes. Enter our new contest now. And Bob Baker featured in a gripping Western movie, Border Wolves, Captain Easy, Out Our Way, Alley Oop, Regular Fellas, Cicero's Get, Crime Busters, Bronc Peeler, Four Aces. And here's the worry. Here's Alley Oop. This is one of the stories I was going to read. But the one I Regular Fellas,
One of the earliest comic book characters to have a song made about him.
Alley Oop. Oh yeah, I
Yes.
remember the song. Dude, Alley Oop,
Yep. There's a
Alley Oop.
guy in the funny papers we all know.
Yeah. Captain Easy here by Roy Crane. And then the funny. Remember how I told you that the comics back in these days were kind of akin to the Highlight magazines,
Yes.
right?
Oh
You
yeah.
see,
They had
funny
puzzles and
crossword puzzle right here. Look at this. Our readers. Look at that. Pretty simplistic crossword at that.
yeah.
And then the Cosmic Zoo, Four Aces by Hal Forrest. Our Boarding House of Major Hoople. Cicero's Cat by Bud Fisher. Home Magic, The Worry Wart here. Now this was some pretty like this was more cartoony art too. You know, it's like I think that's one of the other reasons because granted, it was still good. It was good art, but more in a kind of a cartoon style. You know, right, RJ.
Yes. Yeah. More sketchy, a little more exaggerated.
Yeah,
They
out
didn't
our
get into
way.
a whole lot of detail.
Yeah, regular fellers out our way. Ben Web. This was one of the other ones I was going to read, but and Alger I know is a pretty. All right, so here's Squibbly right here. As mentioned earlier, of course, Squibbly and Ben Webster would eventually move over to DC and become part of the All American Comics. And Squibbly was the feature that they used to introduce the Golden Age Red Tornado Mahuncle.
Yeah.
All right. Professor Twitchell has tricked Captain Colorful into taking one of his time pills. The pills that can transport man years into the past. Then along came Squibbly, who, seeing the coffee pot, helped himself, not knowing it contained the time pills potion. Oh, gee, I feel tired. Morning. What's that? Hey, Twitchell, wake up. Huh? Clomp, clomp. Look at that. My word. The time pills worked. It's the Civil War. Wow, the Civil War. Hey, where'd you pop from? Me? I drank some of your coffee last night, and then I fell asleep. Well, kid, what you drank was the professor's time pills, and it looks like they worked. So you're in this with us. Keep your head down. Looks like some shooting. Golly! Bam! Bang! Uh-oh. They're off. Keep down. My word. Wow! Bam! Crack! Boom! Can it be that true that the time pills really worked? Right. Why Big Brothers Leave Home by Squibbly. Now, here's an interesting little thing. Sheldon Meyer actually wrote both parts of this. He wrote the Squibbly feature and this feature, but he just signed this feature as Squibbly, as if, giving us the idea that Squibbly, because Squibbly was a cartoonist.
Yeah, he's kind of doing the whole Wimpy Kid thing way before Wimpy Kid, where the character in the book is also drawing his own adventures autobiographically.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because this is one of the instances where, because I remember mentioning this to Tug, where Tug was asking me if I knew of any characters who put kids in the stories, and not just, and I pointed out to him I knew of a character, but not necessarily put his kid into a story, but he basically put himself in the story, and referring to this, of course. Let's see. Ha ha! Vacation's over. Squibbly's gotta go back to school. Ha ha! He would rub it in. Grrr. My big brothers leave home. Yeah. So this is this feature they did here too, in which they would ask kids to send ideas in for this feature, for this Why Big Brothers Leave Home, and then they would incorporate it into the strip here. Again, a very interactive aspect of comic books back then.
Yeah.
Of course, you probably wouldn't see that today because, these SJWs, if you put in a story that sounded more conservative, actually something people actually want to read, they just, nah. But think about that for a moment, too. This is a time, too, when comic book writers and artists were actually more appreciative of their fans, so much that they even asked for ideas from them. What a concept, right, RJ?
Yep.
A far cry from what we see today, wouldn't you say?
They had ideas then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Squibbly by Sheldon Meyer. Imagine where we're actually seeing a real battle in the Civil War. All thanks to my time pills. Now, mind you, this was probably what, like 70 to 75, maybe, 70 to 75 years ago from, because this is 1938, so this is about 75 years prior. The Civil War was 75 years prior to this.
Yeah.
Imagine if we sent somebody back to that time nowadays, how they might react. Yes, sir. It's the blue and the gray, and look, the blue's winning, or is it the gray? But it's close. Well, the blue won in the end. Anyhow, why let this thing go on? I'm gonna finish it up in a hurry. See you later.
It's a war, but one man's going to go out there and say, "Hey, cut it out."
Well, there's another problem with that, and it's a common time travel trope that you don't want to mess around with history.
Exactly.
And we've seen why in a number of occasions. Wow! Look at him. Knock that guy off his horse. My word, he's going to fight the whole battle by himself. Of course, the SJWs would probably be having a fit, me showing this. Seeing that first panel on the left there?
Oh yeah, the flag. But it's okay. He's punching Confederates, so
yeah. Give me your flag, Sonny boy. Thanks. This is fun. Hey, what's that guy doing? This ain't in the script. In the script? Come on, you guys. In blue, I'm on your side. Viva Abe Lincoln. The guy's nuts. Cut! I said cut! Don't you hear me? The scene is over. Cut! 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 Who? I ain't half started yet. Whose side are you on, chump? So, hence asking the question, did the time pills actually work? I think we're getting the answer right here. Whose side am I on? I'm the director. This is my picture. You ruined for me. A $10,000 scene in jail. You belong. That's what you are. You sput. A movie? Huh? Excuse me a minute, chum. Time pills, huh? Phooey. My word. Oh, look at that. He's giving him a good kick in the rear.
Yep. Send him flying.
All right. Hey, kids, can you think up a good nickname for my kid brother? If you can, send it in to me, Squibbly, to the funnies, 469 Madison Avenue, New York, New York. And then there's a sample of the letter. That's a great idea, Norman. That's a great idea, Norman. Ma! All right. Well, anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed the stories tonight. We're already at the 2 hour mark, but we do have one more thing to take care of before we finish up, and we should get through that pretty quickly. Oh, and I saw that you just sent me a message. RJ, I guess I'll have to take a look at that after the show or what have you. We'll see what's going on there. Well, you can also tell me about it when we're doing post game here.
And then I'm going to pop over to George's channel. He's going to be showing the next installment of Commando Cody on his channel tonight.
Yeah. Well, you were telling me too that I guess George was kind of giving you heads up that what was going on too, right?
Oh yeah, because he always invites me to the stream.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with what we were just talking, yeah. All right. Well, here's a couple. Woody had a couple of things to say here. You want to read those?
Oh, he's still here. He's the late guy. So Woody's toughing it out to the very end here. Captain Easy was one of my favorite newspaper funnies when I was a kid. Sunday funnies were a big family event. Yeah, my grandfather, back in the 70s, early 70s, pretty much influential in getting me to read. I was reading at 4 years old before I went to school because of the comic books, but also because he would read Charlie Brown to me. He had the big cutouts too. The paper, for some reason, sometime once a week, did a full sheet drawing of one of the characters, and he cut them out and he taped them to the wall in the one room there. So there were like these 12-inch tall Peanuts characters.
All right, and
I like that last part. I'm guessing you're talking about the Civil War reenactment that they thought was real, because they took time pills. Why wouldn't they think it was real?
Yeah, Squibbly's a fun one to read. I just maybe I should have just planned things out a little bit. I thought I could have got through 6 in 2 hours, but but with as much of the commentary as I was doing, also going back and forth in the chat, and then we had we'll talk more about some of the behind the scenes stuff after the show here. So, anyways, all right. So we're already past the 2 hour mark, but we're going to go ahead and start to wrap things up. RJ, you want to read this one as well?
Yeah, Squibbly, huh? Never heard of it. I like it. Yeah, he's same guy who invented Sugar and Spike for DC Comics.
Yeah. Well, and of course, I've already mentioned too that Squibbly, when he moved up, when Sheldon Meyer moved him over to DC, already said this a couple times tonight, but it was in Squibbly's feature where they introduced the Golden Age Red Tornado Mahunkel as well.
Right.
Yeah. So, anyways, okay. So, with that being said, I think it's a good time to start wrapping up. So, are you guys all ready for this day in each history?
Let's do it.
I'm going to wait to see if Woody's going to respond to that. Woody, you ready for this day in each history? It looks like I did get a solid number of likes tonight, too. So, yeah. So, anyways. All right. Well, let me just review here real quick for my own. So 2004, 2002, 2006. Yeah, we actually only have 3 pieces of history tonight that I was able to find for this day. So one, of course, animation, one in wrestling, and one in Let's Do It. Okay. All right. So Mighty Geek Studios looks like came back. Neach it up. All right. And I hope to see you all back here on Monday as well. Okay. So without any further ado, today is Friday, January the 14th, 2022. Let's take a look back at this day in Neach history. All right. So let's see. So first off, we head back 20 years ago today, as on this date in 2002, I believe, I don't know if by this time they had actually had changed the name to WWE yet, or if they were still going by WWF. But on this date back in 2002, from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, WWE held its Monday Night Raw event. In the main event of the show, we saw the six-man team of Chris Jericho, Lance Storm, and Christian defeating Rikishi and the APA in a six-man tag team match. Some of the other matches on the night included Booker T defeating Big Show in 2 minutes 40 seconds, William Regal and Test defeating Edge and RVD. Saw Jazz defeat Jacqueline in a women's match. And you saw Spike Dudley coming to the ring by his tag team partner Taz, who the previous week had won the WWE WWF World Tag Team Championships, defeating Bubba Ray Dudley with Devon Dudley and Stacy Keibler in their corner.
Stacy Keibler.
Huh?
Stacy Keibler.
Yeah. So on this date 20 years ago today, Monday Night Raw was held from the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. So with that, we will get ready to move on. And I think we had one more comment here. Let's see. We're listening. We don't always have our fingers right hovering over the keyboards.
Oh, no. Don't do that. You might type something you don't want to say.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to the next piece of niche history here. And RJ, I know I probably already mentioned this. If you can stick around for just a couple minutes, so we do post game, that'd be appreciated. Anyway, so on this date in 2004, Marvel Comics would release via the Max imprint the first issue of their first issue of the Punisher comic through their Max imprint on this date back in 2004, which was 18 years ago today. So on this date, 18 years ago today, the Punisher #1 from Marvel Comics to their Max imprint would go on sale on this day for $2.99, 32 pages, with Axel Alonso as the editor. The story was in the beginning, part 1. The story was written by Garth Ennis, penciled by Louis LaRosa. Tom Palmer did the inking, the lettering by Randy Gentile, and Dean White did the coloring. I know you're the comics guy here. RJ, you have any comments on any of these individuals? Anything you'd like to say?
Not really. Garth Ennis was known for some pretty violent stuff around the time he was doing that. He couldn't make it as violent as he did Preacher, but having Garth Ennis on Punisher meant that people were going to get shot a lot.
So probably he wouldn't fit into what they're trying to pull with the Punisher now.
No. Oh no. Well, I don't know.
Would you say that he's probably more in line with maybe a little closer to, let's say, Chuck Dixon and Mike Barron, as opposed to the people who are currently writing and drawing Punisher?
I don't know what Garth Ennis's personal politics are. So
I wasn't even necessarily talking about personal politics. I'm just talking about storytelling and all that.
But storytelling, no, he wouldn't be that kind. No.
All right. So anyway, and we have one more piece of each history, and then we'll be done here. This last piece of niche history here happened 15 years ago today in 2007. All right, so on this date in 2007, Flatland the film, which was a computer animated film based on the 1984 novella Flatland, A Romance of Many Dimensions by Edwin Abbott Habit. That's an interesting name.
It was an interesting book.
Yeah. You've read Flatland?
I have read Flatland.
Okay. Well, the computer animated movie premiered on this date back in 2007, so 15 years ago today. So there you go, everybody. That's the history segment of our show. I'm glad everybody came by tonight. I hope you all enjoyed the content. Let's see. And with that, guys, I hope to see everybody back here on Monday. Okay. Looks like Woody has one more thing he'd like to say here. Would you like to finish us off there, RJ?
It was a wonderful book. My dad was a math teacher. We did that, and there was an old cartoon movie from that was an absolute favorite, wonderful cartoon called Flatland. And yeah, Flatland, Mike, it was a math story. And it was a two-dimensional world where you had circles and lines and dots, or points and triangles. And the more sides you had, the higher caste ranking you had. And they had rules for, if you line segments were all female. And if you were a line segment, you had to wiggle your tail so that people could see you, so they didn't get impaled on you, because otherwise you were invisible. But, even wiggling your tail, you just look like a line shrinking and growing. So they're like, okay, don't go near that flashing thing. And one of the characters gets lifted off the page by somebody in the third dimensional world and to look down, because down wasn't even a concept. There was just, around. It's a thinking story.
All right. Well, Woody's got a couple more things he wanted to add to the conversation here.
You take a square you see and you move it up. What do you mean upward? You mean northward? Right, exactly. Because up wasn't a word. It was north, south, east, west, and the whole 360 kind of deal.
All right.
This was a 1950s movie, animated. Because I thought Flatland was a lot older than 1984.
Well, okay, they said that it was based on a book from 1984, a novella from 1984, and this film we just looked at was a 2007 film. All right.
I'm Googling when Flatland was written.
All right, I'll go ahead and read
1884. Right. 1884.
Or 1884. So okay.
The page was mistyped by 100 years.
Okay.
So Dad used to bring the film projector home from the AV department to show us Flatland once every year or two. Oh boy, that is going back, isn't it?
And hello, Jason Myers 11. I'm sorry you got here late. You missed much of the show here. Opinion on Skylar McIntosh, voice actress. Not for Vic Mignogna situation, but in general. I don't know, because I haven't heard of Skylar McIntosh before. We actually were focusing more on comic stuff tonight, Jason. So sorry about that. Let's see. Another one was Donald Duck in Math Magic Land. Truly fabulous educational cartoon. Wow, we got a real lively conversation going on now.
Now you're all here.
Yeah. The way you figured out who somebody else was you had to feel them. Yeah, I guess that was from the Flatland movie.
Yes. Yeah, you had to feel them because you only saw a dot or a line. Even a circle looked like a line to you because you saw it from the edge.
Yeah. And then Jason's telling me that I guess Skylar sounds similar to Amber Lee Conn. I have heard her a little bit, but again, as I said, first off, I don't have any opinion on either of them at this point. But as I said, also we're focusing a little more on comics tonight than on anime. So, anyways, it might have been a 1980s animation. Come to think of it, but as RJ just pointed out, it was misprinted. It was actually 1884. It came out in 1984. Of it, and older book
online. You can read it on website.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things where I'll have to see the remake, but there's no possible way it could ever measure up. Yeah, usually remakes don't measure up all that well. Because I finished high school in 1975. Oh, the year I was born. So we were definitely looking at at it before then. All right. Anyways, guys, well, thank you all for coming in tonight. I thank everybody for the likes and shares. I do appreciate that. And hopefully, I hope to see everybody back here on Monday. Bye.